Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC. Yes, we are. You guys, I actually thought I made a video on this last night. I spent like 40 minutes on a video, and it just didn't post for whatever reason. I don't know why. Chalk it up to technical issues, but I tried posting it. I came back and looked at it today, and it wasn't there. It failed to upload, and there's nothing I can do about it, so that kind of sucks. But I definitely was not expecting a move like this to happen yesterday. But there is some things that I want to go over in today's video that are a bit of a different change of pace to what I've been saying over the past few weeks, right? So buckle up. Let's get to it. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. You guys, looking at the monthly chart, which is something that we don't do normally when we're talking about the day-to-day stuff. It's normally what we do when we're talking about like cyclical stuff, macro stuff, but this month-to-month chart can perhaps provide some insight on what's about to happen in the coming months, like in the coming 2 months, coming weeks even. Like it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So I want to just get into it. Let me see if did I do that? Okay, we're good. Okay. Looking at the RSI, where we are in the RSI is we got overbought, right? We went all the way up to 84. Cool, that's nice. But as cool as that is, we came down to the overbought zone, and we are looking like we're bouncing off it. And I say that pretty confidently. That's a really good move. For anybody that doesn't know, bouncing off your overbought zone in the RSI is extremely bullish. I don't care what time frame. It could be the 15-minute time frame, the daily, the weekly, the monthly, whatever. As you go up, it's more significant. The monthly is definitely more significant. So this is the most bullish, I suppose, that it could be. But not only that, we're almost we're at the point where we might engulf last month's candle, which was a bearish engulfing candle. Getting a bullish reversal on top of that would be insane. And what's great about that too, you guys, is where we closed last month was literally right, like pretty damn near the all-time high close from the prior cycle, right? So closing right here and then seeing that kind of reaction. It's not a lot of volume, granted, but we still have 11 days left. Let's see how it goes. We did get a decent bit of volume yesterday, but it is decreasing, whatever. But that's beside the point. You know, it's a really good look what we're doing now. We do have 11 days left in the month. I don't think that we would drop 16.8% in the next 11 days. It could happen. You know, it is crypto. It's a wild ride. Anything can happen. But I would assume this is a green month. And what's really beautiful about that is this bounce off the overbought zone. It's a very bullish thing. We've only done this once in Bitcoin's history, okay? Every other time we've rejected it, and then inevitably broke above it. But here we found support on it. This was in June. This was the 2013 to 2014 bull cycle. If we go back and we look at what happened with the price there, you see, so here was our low right there in the RSI. It was on this month. We did go lower the next month, which we haven't done this month, so I don't think we're going to do that. But essentially, we only went up 9% that next month. And then over the following months, 1, 2, 3 months later, we were up 116%. Now, I don't think that's going to happen with Bitcoin. I don't think we're going to be up 116% because this was back when Bitcoin was below $100, man, or it just broke $100 for its first time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. I don't think we're going to see 100% gains in the next. What was that? 2 months. I don't think it's going to happen. But I do think that it's a good sign that we could be going up from here. And the reason why that's a bit different than what I've been saying, for those of you that might be new here, or those of you that might not have been following along the past few weeks that I've been talking about Bitcoin, I've been calling for prices to be below this high right here, the current all-time high at about 74K, just below 74K. I've been calling for prices to be below there, regardless of what we do. We can go up, we can go down, whatever, but we're going to be in this range until August is what I've been saying. And that's changed in me a little bit. I think we genuinely could break this high as early as June. I'm starting to think July might be a little bit more of a possibility. It could happen sooner than that. You know, at the rate we're going, we could just continue to grow and go, but I don't think we will. I do think that we will probably consolidate. That was a nice little day, but it was less volume, to be completely fair. That's not necessarily encouraging. I want to look at the 4 hour, but before I do that, actually, I just want to touch on this. I want to close this part of the video out, is that the monthly looks insanely good, you guys. It's only done it once before, and this happened at the end of the bull cycle, of the 2013-2014 bull cycle. I do not translate that into saying that we are at the end of this current cycle. Okay, there's differences in what we're seeing now. If we look at Bitcoin throughout its history, and I'm glad I touched back on this before I went to the shorter term time frame stuff, you can see we've interacted with this line in the RSI every single cycle, right? From the very first cycle to the second to the third to the fourth. I mean, first maybe high, I should say. I suppose this would be your first cycle. Anyways, we've interacted with this every time. We haven't interacted with it this time. Okay. Most cycles also have had two peaks, two peaks, two peaks. This one had one peak, but here was its second peak. It was just a lot lower. And where that second peak came in really was in the price, right? So let's see. Anyways, we're not in the same readings of the RSI that we've been in historically when we've seen the end of the cycle happen, right? That happens generally when we interact with this trend line, which is at the moment, let's say we interact with it for our first time toward the end of this year, maybe November, that'd be in the 90s. It'd be above the 90s, right? We hit 83. 83 on the RSI to above 90, that's a huge difference, okay? So what I'm getting at, the reason why I'm stressing this so much is, yes, the only other time that we've seen this exact move was at the end of one of our bull cycles. But it's not the same thing. It's a similar reading as far as the bounce goes, but it's a different reading entirely from what the RSI has done. Okay, so I don't think, from this look, it was June that we found our low, and then November of that same year that we found our all-time high. June to November, what is that? That's 5 months. I do not believe that in 5 months' time the bull cycle is going to be over. I do believe, however, I think I accept it as a possibility that in 5 months' time, it's April, 5 months from April would be September, we could be at this line. We could have our first interaction with this line. And the first interaction is great, right? That means we're near the end of the near the end of the bull cycle, but we're not quite there, right? It's kind of like the checkered flag. Is it the white flag? Not the checkered flag. It's the white flag. Which one? I'm not that big into racing, man. Which is the checkered flag? The last lap flag. I don't know how to say it. The black and white checkered flag wave is finish line. Okay, so this. Pardon my ignorance on the nomenclature, but this would be the white flag. This would be the second to last lap kind of signal that we would have, right? We'd be near the end of it. But again, I don't assume we're going to see that for at least 5 months from now. If not, I mean, it could happen by the end of this year, if not sometime next year, all right? And that still gives us plenty of time for the cycle to develop afterwards. And I'll show you what I mean by that real quick. In case anybody's like, wait, we're going to go up and form this high. Anytime that we've done this has been near the end of the cycle. We look like we're really close to it now. We're going to go do that. This cycle is going to be over soon. But let me cool your jets. Let me help you out with that. Okay, real quick. From this high here to this high there, that was 4 months. Okay, 4 months time. From this high here to this high, that was 7 months time. From this high to this high, it was 4 months again. And then the last one, it would have been from this high to this high, was 7 months. So we've got 4 months, 7 months, 4 months, 7 months. So a range between 4 to 7 months. If we find our high, let's say we find it as early as September of this year, which I think is early, but let's say we find our high in the RSI as early as September this year. 4 months at a minimum would give us until January of next year, which I just don't think I think that's too early in my opinion, but 7 months would be April. That is the minimum expectation that I have for the length of the bull cycle. So April, I accept that as a possibility, but it wouldn't be crazy either to see this extend a little bit longer than what we've seen before. It also wouldn't be crazy if we saw this first high in the RSI come in a little bit later, maybe even in the beginning of next year. So as soon as that might sound, we've still got a pretty decent, I mean, I would say roughly a year's time. And that's being kind of presumptuous as far as like how early it would be. But we've still got a lot of time left in the bull cycle, guys. The main reason why I'm addressing this is I think it's exciting. I think it's very exciting to see this because we could genuinely be like well above 100K by the end of this year. We could see prices above 130K, 170K by the end of this year. It genuinely could happen. As crazy as that sounds, with the momentum that we've got now, it could happen. And I don't know. I wanted to address that before getting into the short-term stuff, because I have been, for the past few weeks, or maybe not even weeks, probably the past like month, probably about a month, yeah. I've been saying that we would be consolidating for 1 to 5 months, 3 to 5 months specifically. And I just don't think we're going to do that anymore. I do think we could see us break this high. We could see Bitcoin break this high as early as June. I'm more expecting July. I had been expecting August or September for a while there, but at this point in time, I'm moving that up a couple months to about like June to July instead of August to September. I'm saying June to July. I don't expect that we're going to break it this month, so that would mean that we are at the upper ends of this kind of consolidation phase. We probably will find some resistance soon, if not today, maybe in the coming days. But let's go over the shorter term analysis to kind of get into that. I hope all that last part made sense. I hope all that longer term stuff made sense, but let's see here. So we're looking at the daily. I want to look at the 4 hour, because actually we're on the daily. We're at the overbought zone, rejecting this area. We've done it before. We've done it here. It happens. Even if you go a little bit into it, it does happen. So seeing a rejection here wouldn't be crazy. If we get a red day today, that would start to look like we're getting a rejection off the overbought zone. So looking at the 4 hour here, before I continue, I just want to make sure we're all good. All right, cool. We're good. You guys can hear me? Yes, everything's good. The 4 hour RSI actually looks pretty damn bullish, not going to lie. It wouldn't be crazy if it went down. Let's look at the 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour has a little bit of bearish divergence. You look like you're breaking that trend a little bit. Okay, whatever. You do have hidden bullish divergence too, though. But yes, you're moving up and your volume died down. So you're at least good for a move. You're at 71K right now, essentially. You're at least good for a move back to 70K. But I think it wouldn't be crazy at all to see a retrace from this low to this high here, being that you're at your kind of previous areas of resistance. Seeing a retracement all the way back down to 65, 66K, right? That was kind of the line in the sand to break to the upside. And we did break that. Once we closed above 66K, it's been on to the upside essentially. If we came back down to that 60K area, held support, even if we go down to 65K, it's okay. But if we just like hold support somewhere in this zone, I think that'd be extremely bullish. And I think that would set us up to break these highs sometime in June. Now, however, if we don't do that, if we go down maybe we go to the 382, we reject the 236. If we're working our way down like this, we could see prices all the way back down to 60K. And it could be sometime, it could be later than June. It could be even later than July before we see these highs broken. But I do think, at this current rate, if we found our low there, I'm just drawing, like, who knows how it would look. This is kind of like an inverse head and shoulders look. That would be July, that we'd break these highs. But who knows how it's going to look really. The main point of this video is just addressing that as normal as it is for Bitcoin to remain stagnant and boring after the halving, it's looking like we're not going to do that this time. We're kind of doing it now. Sure, it's been boring since March. The halving happened on April 20th, so really it's been boring since before then, and it's been boring afterwards, but it's a lot shorter of an amount of time than what's happened historically. The main reason why I've been saying that we wouldn't break this high until August or at least July or maybe even September is because every single halving that Bitcoin has had, we've seen, except for the first one. The first one, it was only 1 month. But to be fair, we've seen months of consolidation is what I was about to say. But to be fair, 2012, that was the halving, the first halving there. 1 month we were stagnant, and then the next month we broke up. We moved up the following month afterwards, but that's 7.5% a month. That's pretty stagnant, especially for back then, right? Where you were seeing months that grew 178%, 346%. That's 7% is pretty stagnant, I would say, even if you're growing up. But the next month, it only took 1 month of consolidation, and then the next month you were exciting again. However, you were boring, I'd say, for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months you were essentially in this area. So that was 5 months technically. But after the halving, it was only 1 month. Where here, we had our next halving, it was July. We didn't really break out until I would say 5 months later, which was December, you know, five months again. You definitely moved up. You moved down initially, but then you moved up a little bit, but you didn't really see a breakout move until December. And then the last halving that we had was in May. And again, you know, we kind of moved sideways again. We didn't get our breakout until here, until 5 months later. So that's why I've been saying that I didn't personally expect that we would break this high until 3 to 5 months afterwards. But looking at the data that we have before us, I don't know, man. This looks pretty damn good. Short of us swallowing all this bullish price action that we've been building all month in the next 11 days, if we were to just reject here and move down 17% in the next 11 days, then things would change a little bit, sure, but I don't think we will, man. It's hard for me to imagine that we're going to drop that much in that short of amount of time for an asset that's worth $1.5 trillion almost. On a weekly basis, we're almost in the overbought zone. We're coming off of the 60. That's a nice bounce there. Literally bouncing right off of the 60, man. That's a nice bounce on your weekly. Bouncing off the overbought zone, that's a nice bounce on your monthly. The daily RSI bounced off your oversold zone. You're above the 50 now. You even had a double bottom right here, or a relative kind of tip tap with support on the 60. Previous area that you'd found resistance on, relatively speaking, right? Support, resistance, all back here. All the time frames, all the significant time frames, daily to monthly, daily, weekly, monthly, they all look really good. So I'm having a hard time keeping the same belief that we're going to be trapped below this price until August. It's just not there for me anymore. I really do think that July, or even as early as June, we could be at new all-time highs, which is exciting. It's very, very exciting, not just for Bitcoin, but for all crypto. I don't know if I have anything else I want to say. We're at about 71K right now. I do expect that we could see a drop down to about 66K from here. And if we go lower, that's okay. If we go not that low, that's awesome. But I do think, relatively speaking, if not at this price, just a little bit higher, very soon, nonetheless, we're probably going to move back down to I'd say about 66, 65K, find support there, and then move up. And that's all I got to say. So if you guys like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.